What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being a friend. Well done.
In my local leisure centre, there was a man in the female changing room. Last week in my leisure centre, there was a man in the female changing room. So I went up to him and said, "You're probably a perfectly decent person, but you don't belong here because this is for female people only." And he said, "I am a female. It says female on my birth certificate and on my passport." And I said, "Despite your government lying to you to make you smile, you are a man and you don't belong here." He threatened to call the cops and did so. We went downstairs. I didn't quite match Stiltish in terms of my volume and my language, but I was close. And you know, I can aspire to that and her abs, which I do. So the manager told me that they have a case-by-case policy, which is a visual assessment. If they decide a man looks feminine enough, he is allowed in. I said, first of all, that's not even logical, because a man with a GRC and penectomy who can't get rid of his beard and looks a little butch and maybe likes to wear a comfy tracksuit and blue trainers isn't allowed in, but a man who is intact, takes no medical steps, doesn't have a GRC, but looks pretty is allowed in. So you're discriminating against men, which is illegal, but you're mainly discriminating against women. The law is clear, it has been clarified. You should be immediately going back to the original accurate policy that females can have a female-only changing room, and that is legal according to the Equality Act. So we are escalating. I've moved it up the chain. It's a council-run leisure centre, which makes it even more egregious. Spoke to someone today.
I work in the civil service, and I'd love to tell you which department, but I'm actually too scared to, because the bullying is real. The guidance and policies written for by HR are actually written by activists. The language is there. Assigned female at birth. You are not allowed to tell a trans person that they can't use the toilet that they wish to use. You can't even suggest that they use the disabled toilets. They have to be allowed to use the toilet they want to use from day one.
That was my experience as a trans widow, and I gave a reply which was not flattering. It is an experience that only those who've been subject to coercive or controlling behaviour in a marriage would understand, and that's of the worst kind. It's like living with a rebellious teenager on a bad day every single day, and he ended up rubbing his head on the wall behind the spare bedroom bed because he was just completely deranged. And then I was asked, I wasn't asked, I launched into, we must get rid of the Gender Recognition Act, because what is gender? It's not defined in the Act. So what is it that we're recognising? But gender dysphoria is defined in the Act. That's the illness that you have to suffer, and it is a disorder that's in the Act. And then I got a third point in, which is that, of course, Graham Lenehan is absolutely right, that we need to discuss this. Free speech is the key, the cornerstone to truth and enabling the kind of fact-finding and opinion-forming that we all need as a society. Thank you.
because I wasn't expecting to speak. There was nobody else, not so many ladies are speaking, I'm going to. So I'm in a unique position in that I do work for the NHS, and we did have somebody who trans in our department, and I objected. We have full trans policies. I did try and question them beforehand, but as soon as I knew he was going in, I really kicked off. I sent the email, it was quite stern. I emailed everybody, the chief officer, the top nursing staff, but I also put in, because it was a while ago, Kemi Badenoch and Victoria Aitkins. So it came to the day that he was coming in. Apparently he was seen walking around in the ladies, and I was sort of like, what's happened about my email? And as I said, oh, could you come to the office? We're going to just have a little discussion. When I got there, it was a Zoom chat, so they sort of really jumped me a bit. And it was the top brass within the hospital, 12 of them at me. But as I went in, just before I went in, I did think, what would Kelly J do? And I really did have your face in my mind as I went in to do battle with the 12. So I don't know how they thought the meeting was going to go, but it went my way. And that is because I fucking well kicked off. I have not survived 3 attempted rapes, been sexually assaulted in the now teens numbers, to have a man in my space, and neither have any of the other ladies. It really did get very heated. I was told that I had breached, I think, maybe 20 times the UHL policy on trans. And I still will not stick to it. Even now, when people approach me about this person, and I go, I correct every single person. I said, are you talking about this particular man? And it's he. So they are after me, but so far I've got through. And I would say that when you have these policies, just tell them to F. Really get very angry. Do not apologise and say, well, I've been told, I don't know how many times that this will go to a disciplinary. I have asked for the disciplinary. Come on, bring it. I will fight you, and I will win. When you have the politics and you think, oh, now I can't speak out. No, that's the moment you do speak out. That is the moment you transgress every single bit of that policy. I really do mean it. My job is just as much on the line as anybody else's, because it's the NHS and they can discipline you. But so far, they have been too intimidated to do it. Speak up, speak out, and tell them to fuck off!
A bit of energy. Well done, thank you so much. I sometimes, you know the gif of Oprah where she goes, you got a car, I feel like just going, and you can fuck off, and you can fuck off.